we are watching very closely, Dan, this de-escalation, which caught the market by surprise. And at 3 p.m. yesterday, when the joint statement came out, we did see a bit of a rally play out, extending into, of course, the global markets, the U.S. market reaction as well. So we're seeing some downside play out here for the Hang Seng Index, which closed higher 3% yesterday. We had an 8-session running of gains in the amount of about 7.5%. So some give back that is being played out in the Hong Kong market today. Shenzhen also lower on the session, down 0.3%. Shanghai, just a slight positive bias. We are in the lunch break now, returning to trade in the next hour. But in terms of the details of what has been called a de-escalation between China and the United States. They have agreed to cut tariffs. This is for 90 days and establish a trade consultation mechanism. It'll be regular as well as on ad hoc basis. This gives both power of interim economic relief at home without appearing weak. This is being hailed as a success on the Chinese side. The de-escalation of the trade war benefiting both economies with significantly lower tariffs without any concessions. So with that, of course, we heard from the U.S. side. We have Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent, who was a part of the negotiations, saying that they don't want to see a decoupling with China. This is what he had to say.
One of the most important things that we're doing, we do not want a generalized decoupling from China, but what we do want is a decoupling for strategic necessities, which we were unable to obtain during COVID, and we realized that efficient supply chains were not resilient supply chains. So we are going to create our own steel, protect our steel industry. They work on critical medicines, on semiconductors. So we are doing that, and the reciprocal tariffs have nothing to do with the specific industry tariffs.
So now the tariffs have been brought down to 10% for China. It'll be 10 plus 20, and the 20 refers to the fentanyl tariff, and that remains in effect and will not be discussed together with the tariff impact. It'll be, of course, separate to the trade talks. So with that, U.S. 10%, China 30%. We are, of course, continuing to track all the developments in the relations between the U.S. and China. President Trump has called this a total reset in bilateral relations, and he is likely to speak to President Xi in the coming days, asserting that weekend talks would prove great. And basically, the talks were friendly. The relationship is very, very good. And so we'll be seeing what's going to be happening in the coming days when that actually happens. Dan.
Ems, this will also have significant upside for investors here in the Gulf. And I think this is important to point out here. Number one, we've seen regional equity markets also benefiting from the stabilization that we've seen around these trade fears. We saw stocks in Saudi Arabia and the UAE moving higher. Of course, energy market investors also benefit from this as well. China, of course, being one of the world's largest consumers of crude oil. So oil prices also ticked higher off the back of this. But perhaps most importantly, Ems, this also signals that President Trump and this White House is willing to bend when it comes to trade. And investors could also perhaps be seeing this as a framework for future negotiations on tariffs, including with Gulf partners. So, Ems, walk us through what the next steps are actually going to look like here. And when it comes to the upcoming round of negotiations between the U.S. and China, what can we expect?
So what we can see now, we have two trade deals that have come through from the U.S. The first one with the U.K., and that is a 10% tariff. So that is the baseline, and some concessions that were offered to the United Kingdom. The difference with China is that they've got 10% plus 20%. As I mentioned, that will incorporate the fentanyl tariff, which they're going to be discussing separately to that of the trade tariffs. What we do know is that with these potential talks between China and the United States, this is going to be a long, drawn-out process. President Trump likes to get involved. We saw that when the trade negotiations were taking place with Japan. So this could be what we're seeing as reaching out to that of China. We heard from President Xi just earlier today as he was speaking at the opening of the CELAC summit, and President Xi says that there's no winner in tariff wars or trade wars, and it's only when countries work together can they maintain world peace, stability, and promote global development. So what we're hearing from many of the guests, the analysts that I've been speaking to, this is going to be a long, drawn-out process. And of course, the baseline of 10% is what most countries around the world can expect as everybody continues to hammer out their trade deals with the United States. Dan.